Hello everyone, this is Rex Red. I am live again. This is EZ3DTV, and I have another exciting tutorial for you today. Something that I worked like about 6 hours trying to learn how to do, trying to figure it out. That's what I do. That's why I come live, because well, the number one reason why I go live in my channel is because I really love interacting, even though if it's just 1 or 2 people. I love interacting with my fans, and especially other Daz and other 3D enthusiasts. That is the number one reason, because I like to do these things with people, and because I learn stuff when they come in. Every once in a while, it's very difficult getting Daz people corralled into my live tutorials, but it would be really nice if you would come into the live tutorials and be part of the live scene. Okay. So what are we going to do today? Well, I have found a way to, well, I figured it out myself. This is not something like I watched a YouTube video and somebody told me how to do it. This was something I had to think about and think about and think about and think about and think about. This is not something you will see anywhere else. And I don't know, maybe there are other Daz people who have figured this out as well. And maybe other people really just opt to use scripts to make their ultra scenery scenes. But I'm going to show you an alternate way to scatter things across an ultra scenery landscape without editing scripts, which are kind of complicated to do. I don't know how to edit scripts, but I know I could do it if I just put my mind to it, because I've worked in C++. I've worked with Python type programming. I've worked with in Pavre years ago, and so I know how to do. I worked in Cal and Cakewalk. I know how to make scripts and all, and it looks like the ultra scenery scripts are actually quite simple. There's just basically rotation, and you point it to your to the DUF file, and you're pretty much set. But I like doing this in a different way. I'm doing this in a completely different way, and that's what makes it kind of exciting, is to see maybe this way might be your way as well. You might prefer to do it this way, because to me it seems a little bit more I don't know, it's just different. Okay, so what we're going to do is, first we're going to put a camera in the scene. I'm going to try to do this as expeditiously as possible. So we're going to put a camera in the scene. We'll look through the camera for now. We're not going to lock the camera until I know where I want my camera to be in the scene. So what we're going to do now is go into Open Ultra Scenery. I'm just going to try to do this. This is going to be probably a fairly long tutorial, but I'm going to try to do it as expeditiously as possible. So what we're going to do first is figure out what features we want. It doesn't matter what this particular method is not limited in any way, okay? So you can use any kind of terrain that you want, okay? I think this island one looks interesting, okay? So we'll scatter stuff on an island, okay? Now we're going to go and select the terrain, and then we're going to go to ecology, water, all of that. We're just going to skip over that, okay, for now. And then we're going to turn everything in the terrain off. Okay, this is the method, okay? We're going to turn it all off, and we're just going to generate and select the camera and build, because we want to get our camera angle so that we can. Okay, done. Close. And now we're viewing through our camera, and this allows us to grab get the angle that we want our scene to be at. Now it looks like we have a little bit of a bridge here. Let's just kind of zoom out on this ultra scenery scene. Okay, we have two of them. We have two bridges there, and they're not bridges, they would be wharves. Okay, for boats. So maybe what would be kind of cool is just to come in like this on this scene and to have some houses on here and maybe a boat at the dock. Okay, so I think something like this might be good. Okay, now it doesn't give you the idea that it's an island. Let's see what this looks like in Iray. Now that just put our tone mapper and our okay. Yeah. I think if I go like this, then I don't have to worry about the proximity, or then we don't have to worry about putting water that goes way out, like infinite water, okay, for now. So we could mess with that later, or try to maybe use some kind of horizon to make an illusion of water. So, okay, this is going to be a fun tutorial. You're going to learn a lot in this, okay? Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, now, what we're going to do, the first thing we're going to do is, now that I know what angle I want my camera to be at, I think I'm going to put a house here, and then we're going to just try scattering stuff on this land. Now, the trick, this is what I thought up, okay? And this is not something I learned from anyone else. It's something that I figured out myself. And what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate. So first I'm going to lock my camera. So I'm going to go in here, and I have a fast way of locking it. But you can go into Edit, Object, Lock, and lock selected nodes. As long as your camera is selected, it will lock. Now when I scroll and all, my camera won't move, and that's what I want. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click this Ultra Scenery Terrain. Okay, and then I'm going to go Edit, Duplicate Nodes. Okay, and it's going to create another terrain. And then what I'm going to do, I believe that terrain is within the Ultra Scenery. So what we're going to do now is unparent that. So we have this, a duplicate terrain, okay? Now what we'll do is we'll turn this other ultra scenery terrain off, okay? In this duplicate terrain, okay, I don't believe I can get rid of the, okay, so we're going to now go to perspective view, so we can we're going to zoom out a little bit. And it doesn't look like I can turn delete these wharves. I believe, okay, now this duplicate terrain, when we turn that off, okay, what we're seeing, it's just because that didn't disappear. Sometimes things don't, when you hide things, they don't disappear. But when I go back into Iray, I believe that will be gone. Yes, it is gone. So when we turn this other terrain on, okay, this is nice. We don't have wharves here. All we have is the terrain, okay? Now, we're not going to be messing with the underwater, because and there's our camera. So that's what that thing is right there. So what we're going to do now is we'll go out of here into you see, what makes this work is because I've brought the Ultra Scenery Terrain in, and I figured out where I want it, because now it won't work if I at a later time decide to move this ultra scenery terrain, move it up or down or in or out or over to the side, then basically it's going to throw everything off, because the fact is that we have two terrains, and what we're going to do is we're going to use this other terrain to scatter stuff on it, and then we're going to hide the terrain. So it's not actually going to be taking up RAM in your graphics card because it's hidden. Now this terrain, you could theoretically, I believe you could even delete the terrain once we've scattered things to it. You could just delete it right out of the scene. That might not be a wise thing, because at a later date you might want to use it, but basically you can just take your ultra scenery terrain and again copy it, delete all the things off of it, and use that, because it's in the place, they're superimposed, they're in the exact same place as each other. We're going to now take and do something really cool with this second terrain, and this is the magic of this whole process. Now, this process requires that you have ultra scenery. I would suggest you also have the ultra scenery accelerator, that you have at least a few of the ultra scenery ecologies, and it also requires that you have ultra scatter. Okay, this process requires all of those products. We're going to go into Geometry Editor, Tool Settings. Okay, if you don't have Tool Settings, you can get Tool Settings by going Windows, Panes, and you'll find it down here, and drag it down so that that it's in this area here. Now we're going to go to Geometry Editor. Here is where the magic happens. Okay, so this is where we use the Control key, and I don't believe we need the Control key until I need to pick up my mouse. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around here, and we're going to select all of the land here. And we're going to go around here. Oops, I messed up. That's okay. Oops, I did it again. Usually I'm pretty good at this. But I am going to just go like this. And we'll hold the Control key, the alternate key, and we'll delete those little mistakes. Okay, now we're going to hold the alternate key. We'll come here. And we're going to just fix these little mistakes that we made. Okay, and we got a couple here. You will see the method to this soon. Okay, so now we're going to hold the Control key again, and we're going to clean this up a bit. And I can hold the alternate key and then subtract a little bit from here. Okay, we just want to get in the ballpark with this. And so we're going to scatter ultra scenery stuff on this island, okay? But what we're going to do is scatter other things that are not part of ultra scenery. And that's why we use the dummy piece of land. And that's why we select, these are called surfaces. That's why we select the surfaces, okay? So I still have the Control key held down. Okay, that's how we do this. We hold the Control key down, and it allows us to keep adding to our selection. And now we're going to, now you could make these into separate, but I have found that I had trouble doing that with Ultra Scatter when there were two different. It does work because I've done it before, but the last time I tried it, I had trouble with it. And so we're going to do it all in one. Okay, so what we're going to do, I still have the Control key held down. As you can see, I'm pretty good at this with a mouse. I do have a pen and my keyboard. I could use my my tablet to do this. All right, so now I'm just going to take and clean up a couple of spots. Now, I could screw this up and end up having to do it all over again, but I'm going to try not to do that by making sure that I always have the control key or the alternate key held down when I go to apply here. Now I'm going to get a little closer so I can make sure I didn't come in on the road, which I did here in spots. So we're going to clean up some of this a little bit here. And it may not look like it's very accurate. It's not, because ultra scenery is all done in like big giant chunks. And so don't worry about that, because the other ultra scenery are going to add little stones and things to the edges. We're just going to use the ultra scenery. Okay, so now we're going to zoom out again, and now I'm going to right click. Here's where another kind of cool, hopefully I don't mess this up. I'm going to right click and I'm going to select lasso, and then I'm going to hit control, hold control, because I want to add more to this. And I'm going to draw a little line through here like this. We're going to draw this around like this. And like this. And like this. Come on, don't mess it up. And then we got to just make that line cross over that, like, and there we go. That selects that. Now I'm going to hold control again. And we're going to now draw this line here. Okay. And we're going to select this like that. Okay, so now we have our scatter surface selected. Now we right click here and go to geometry assignment. Now it will only work this way. This approach will only work if you use a surface. It won't work if you create a face group. I don't know if it works if you create a region. I haven't tried that. And you also have a selection set from selected. Okay, so or these rigid follow nodes or these graph faces. I don't know but I do know that it works. And you can't just say create surface, okay, or it won't work. You have to create, or it'll take the whole thing and create a surface from the whole thing. You have to create it from selected. Okay, so we're going to create surface from selected, and we're going to call this scatter. You can call it whatever you want, CATTER 1, and we'll click accept. Okay, now see, why don't I just, okay, this crashed. Of all things, Daz rarely crashes, but we just lost all of our work. So this is where we're going to do this again. Sorry about that. So we'll just make sure we have it saved so that at least we don't have to go over and over and over this again. So we're going to go try to do this quickly. Let's create a camera. New camera. I'm very sorry. You'll have to jump ahead on this one. Camera. Okay, until it looks like we're back up to where we were. That's what jump ahead is for, or fast forward is for. Okay, so then we're going to open Ultra Scenery Creator. We're going to go to Features. We'll go back to our island. And this is it right there. And we're going to turn off all of the... This is going to get very exciting and fun. You're going to see some really... So hang with me here, okay? And now we're going to select it from camera and build scene. Okay. Okay, now something just kind of dawned on me, okay? So, okay, done. Close. Why did Daz Studio crash like that? And my guess, okay, we're going to now look through our camera, and we're going to get our camera scene, is that maybe the textures, changing the textures, threw off the terrain that's still in the scene. Okay, so that's a possibility. So there is a way to fix that. And that is to, this is to use another product. Okay. And so I will try this again, and this time, okay, I think I'm going to go back out further so we can kind of see it's an island. Okay. Now this particular, let's take a look at this in Iray and make sure my water, that we have water that goes out this far. Okay, this looks pretty good. Let's bring our camera over this way, maybe a little more. What am I doing? Okay, there we go. Now, okay, this looks good. We're gonna lock our camera again. Camera, favorites, most used, lock. Okay, now we're gonna take our ultra scenery terrain and we're gonna duplicate it again, edit, duplicate. Doesn't take that long to do this again. So we're going to duplicate the terrain. We're going to unparent the terrain. Save this as island scatter for now. And just in case we have to come back, we won't have to redo it as much. Okay. Now this ultra scenery terrain, we're going to turn this accept. We're going to turn this terrain off. It's still showing it, so we're going to go out of texture shaded mode. Excuse me. Now it is gone, and all we're looking at is this other terrain. So we're going to go back to our perspective view. We're going to click this and zoom out a little bit. Then we can zoom in again, just so that we can kind of get here. And then we got to go back to our, now the last time I did this, what I did was I used a product to just change this island so that it doesn't have, so what I did was I own a product called 3Delight. Okay, and I'm going to open this Iray Converter up, okay, and open 3Delight. And what we do is scan this. This is odd. Okay. I think it's not finding those other things. Okay, find match. Apply presets. So what this did was it just converted this. Now, I don't know that it did this one. Let's go to surfaces. Yeah, it just converted this scene also to Iray. And this one, for some reason, I believe that ultra scenery is done with 3Delight because it doesn't have like your regular base. It has like diffuse colors, and I've noticed that like all the way through. Now, so when I open this back up into ultra scene, which I will do right now. We'll go into ultra scene. We'll turn it back on. We'll hide this one. When I open this back up, okay, you can see it totally altered that terrain. Now this one is hidden. let's go to this terrain, Ultra Scene. And when I open Ultra Scene, most used, let's go to Ultra Scene. What will happen is when I build it again, it will turn it back to the original texture. Okay, so all of those are turned off. Rebuild the scene. And then when we come back in, you'll notice that the terrain just starts to look different again. Okay, close. And when we go here now to our surfaces for the terrain, you'll notice now it has this diffuse. It was base before, after I converted it. But if I go to our terrain scene here, it still has the base color. So if you run into problems where it crashes on you like that, that's what you can do is use that RISI, it's called 3D Light to Iray Converter, and do what I just did. Convert this to Iray so that this new terrain is Iray, and it leaves the reason why you couldn't put an uber base on this, but then you wouldn't know where to cut out and create your surfaces, because it would just make it all white. Okay, and then it would be hard to find the road and the edge of the coast. So that's why I converted it to 3D Light, so that it still retains its textures, but it's in like a different language. And so now, since these are both in different languages, they're gonna have less incompatibility, because they're both like in a different language, so they're not like trying to still alter each other internally. When I change this one, that one wants to change. And now that's not going to happen. This is a possible way of stopping this. So now I'm going to save this again. We'll turn this landscape back on. This one is still in Iray. You don't want to convert these to Iray, okay? Because they lose a huge amount of, and if you, like I said, like you just saw, if you bring it back into Ultra Scenery, it will just send it back out again and replace your Iray with whatever this is. It's not Iray, but it looks like 3D Light to me. So it's very strange, the surfaces in this Ultra Scenery terrain, because it's like, you notice you got a base here, and then you have another base color, and you have another base color. And so there are like all these different base colors all in one surface. It's strange. I've never seen anything set up like this, where there are several textures used in one surface. Okay, this is just a completely different animal. Okay, now it says base layer, but it says diffuse color, which is very confusing. And then the soil layer, diffuse color. So I think it's using diffuse colors as base colors. I just don't know. But this is very, very strange. I just thought I would point now with this Ultra Scenery terrain that I converted to Iray. I believe it took all of those layers and it just flattened them out into one base color, which is typical of Iray, okay? So now we're going to go back here. Now, it may have actually even given us a higher resolution map. I'm not positive about that. But now that we have this turned off, and we can come back, now go into our tool settings, and I'm going to click Save again. And we're now going to go back into the Geometry Editor, and hopefully this isn't going to do that to us. Now, if you notice when I turn this, there's kind of a sheen, like the ground is all. You don't want that. See, so this Iray land isn't as nice as the ultra scenery land. So you don't want to convert it over and think it's better because it's Iray. It's not. It just doesn't have the depth and the kind of diffuse and things that the stock ultra scenery land has. Okay, so now we're going to go here and we're going to do that again. I'm sorry about this, but okay. Okay, I'm going to hold the control key and we're going to come through here. This time I'll just kind of take my time and get it right the first time. Like I'm doing it alone, but I've already messed up, but okay, now I'm hurrying again. Okay, so we're going to try to do this as accurate as possible. Okay, it doesn't take that long. It'll probably take me about 2 minutes to do this. Okay. So there is one right there. And we can, since we have control held, we can just come in. Now I can hit alternate and we can clean this up a little bit. I went a little too far. You don't want your trees coming in on the road. You'll notice that in your scene. Okay, and now hold control again and I can kind of clean this up a little bit here. Bring this a little closer in some spots. This here. And that. And a little bit here. Okay, and a little bit in there. Okay, now we're going to do the other side. I still have control held. And we're going to do this other side. And then we'll lasso them together. Okay, I'll just come through and fix those spots. Okay, my mouse is just going all over everywhere. Okay, there's that. Now we can fix, hold alternate. You know, we don't want to do this twice. And we're going to clean this up a little bit in here. And all right, now I'm going to hold control again and add a little bit more here. Okay, that's good. Now we're going to go a little bit here. Now we're going to right click, select lasso. I'm going to hold control again because we're still adding. And I'm going to try to draw this down through the middle of my path there with my mouse. And it's not like I haven't done this before. And we'll cut through there, through here. And we got one, all right. And now we're going to hold control again. Make sure you firmly hold it so that it's actually registering. And we're going to come through here, here, okay. And we're going to go through there like that. And we have another place selected. And now I'm going to go to control and we'll go back. We're going to right click. And I'm just going to grab a couple of these little specks. Not that it really matters, but it would, like, we might end up with a little patch or there's no grass or something. I don't know what we're going to scatter on here. No idea yet. Okay, and now I'm going to hold alternate and I'm going to back off of here a little bit. And is there any other place? The road looks good. Okay, we're going to go here and control. And now I'm going to save this. Hopefully it doesn't undo my... All right, now it's saved. I don't know that it would save a selection like that. but let's see control, and if I can get a little closer without going over. Alternate. Take a couple little pieces there. All right, save this again. All right, now we're going to right click and we're going to go geometry assignment, create surface from selected. Now remember, don't create surface, don't assign to surface, create surface from selected, and we're going to call this scatter 1, 1, accept. Now this time it didn't crash, okay? And it may be because this land, like I said, is now talking in a completely different language, okay? So that is how you do it, okay? So now we have an entirely different surface. Now I can show you a little trick here where I can come into the surfaces here, and now you see we have this default default okay, what is that called? All right, well, it's not a texture, it's a gosh, now I can't think of it. Shader. Okay, we have a default shader here for this land, but then once we create these surfaces, they just get covered with an Iray, a basic Iray Uber base. So what I can do is go to this default and click copy selected and then just paste. And boom, all of a sudden, now if I just unselect that, now it looks just like, kind of looks like, it's Iray though. It's not. Now you can't go here to ultra scatter to this terrain and right click and copy this here and then paste it on this other terrain. It won't work. It just, for some reason, it won't paste this terrain. It won't paste it. And that's the thing, is I tried to just use this terrain and make little surface areas, and it didn't work. Okay, I don't know why it didn't work, because you'd think I could just make other little surface, but the problem is when I'm going to bring this back into ultra scenery, and I'm going to scatter stuff from ultra scenery, trees and a few other things that I might want from ultra scenery. But what I'm doing is I'm creating this other terrain so I can use ultra scatter on it and scatter only to these areas. Because I don't want, if I scatter stuff on here, I don't want to scatter it in the road, and I don't want to scatter it in the water. I just want to scatter it on the grass area. That theoretically, okay? So that is the plan. So now we go back to our camera view, and we have something to work with here. We're ready to start kind of playing around with this now. So let's turn back. Now what we can do is we can turn off the ultra scene terrain 2 and turn on our ultra scatter terrain. And now we can go into ultra scatter, back into ultra scatter. Okay, this is going to be our scene. Now we can go into ultra scatter, favorites, not ultra scatter, ultra scenery, creator. Thank you for the likes, people. Thank you. And now we can choose. Okay, we have our feature selected. We don't want to change that. So now do not change that, and do not try to move once now, because you can see that these two pieces of land, I went over this before, but I'm going to say it again. They're superimposed. That's what the magic of this, because if I scatter something on this dummy terrain here, it's going to follow the contours of the other terrain. And that's all that matters. It works. It's a clever trick, and I have to like pat myself on the back because I figured this out, and nobody helped me figure this out. No one at all. Nobody even gave me the idea. I've worked so much with ultra scenery that it became kind of evident that this was something I could do. I tried to do it. I tried to put it into practice, and it worked. So let's let's scatter something on this with ultra scatter. Okay, now because this is going to allow us this other terrain, so we can turn off the ultra scenery terrain just to kind of turn this other terrain on, just to give us a little bit of a headroom so we can kind of play around. So now we're going to go to ultra scatter. Like I said, you have to own ultra scatter to do this. You have to have ultra scenery and ultra scatter to do this. And as you just noticed, you should probably own the 3Delight to Iray. That's Rissy. I think that might be SickleYield, okay? But it's 3Delight to Iray converter. And I use that a lot, so I highly recommend you using that and purchasing that product. Okay, I'm going to pour a little bit of tea, if my tea is seeped enough, and I'm going to have a tiny little sip of tea. Okay, so, oh, that's hot. Okay, so now I'm going to look for ultra, and that should bring us to ultra scatter. And there it is. Now that's advanced. We want pro. Oops, that brings up the website. Okay, we're going to go ultra scatter pro. Oops, we forgot something. Okay, we're going to go into files. We need to find something to scatter on here, okay? So I'm going to go, and I have no idea. I haven't thought this out, so I'm going to go into props and make sure that this filter by contact show is going to show me every prop in the world here. And we're going to find something cool to scatter on here. Trees would be nice. Rocks would be nice. I want some. Okay, how about if we scatter some of these gems? Okay, some of these. Let's scatter the pink, the violet. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to put one of them into the scene. I think that's it. All right, we're going to go now to our perspective view, and we're going to select the scatter, the crystal. Now we're under the ground. We got to come out from here. Control L to light this up. Okay, now the trick is, first we want to see how big this is. So we're going to go to select it. We're going to go to this. We're going to bring this up out of the ground. And you know, that looks about like, well, I think it looks too big. So what we'll do is we're going to line that. We don't have to line this up. What we're going to do is size it, set it to the size we want. Okay, so we're going to scale it. Parameters, scale. And I think this would be probably good. We want them kind of big. But this is something that when people look and see this, they're going to say, did he put all of those crystals there by hand? And that looks like ultra scenery. Okay, and then they're just going to say, oh, he used a script and he replaced like the bushes with this. Nope, we didn't use a script. We used a whole different other method. Okay, now this is what we do. Now I'm going to go into Iray. I want to see what this first. Okay, that looks really nice. Now the ground looks terrible because it's been switched to Iray instead of what it's supposed to be. Okay, so now here is the trick. We take this and we go boop and we hide it underneath the land, okay? Because that is our seed object, okay? And we don't necessarily want the seed object in our scene, okay? So now we're going to go here to back to our terrain. And now that we have our seed object here, we're going to go back to Ultra Scatter. We're going to double click on this and oops, we did it wrong again. We have to have this crystal selected. Now we double click on Ultra Scatter, and now you see it says the scatter object is the single crystal. Now what we're going, it says scatter target object, okay, is going to be terrain 2, okay, not terrain 1, but terrain 2. Now it says limit scatter to, and because we made that surface and we selected and created that surface, now it will appear here, okay. Default is the whole surface, which would be everything, but scatter 1 is that we're limiting it to that surface, okay? Now, the number of instances, be careful here, okay? Now, I'm going to actually cancel out of this. We're going to save this, all right, before I try to do this, okay? Because if I put too many here, my computer will just die, all right? So we're going to go back to scatter to ultra scatter to entire object, which we don't want entire object, we want the scatter. I believe entire and default are the same thing pretty much. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to scatter. See, notice I just moved it a little bit and we're already up to 3,000 of them. Okay, so we're going to do, let's do 1,000. And we're going to go and restrict it to the camera view, which most of the island is going to be in the camera view. Now, I believe when it goes over the hill and down behind where the camera can't see, I think it still fills it with crystals because it's in the purview. It's in the, I don't know. It's in the view of the, not the view, but the force of the front of the camera. It's in the direction the camera is looking, okay? So I'm not positive about that. We'll look, okay? But we're going to put 1,000 of these. Now, what we want to do is add a Perlin map so it doesn't just scatter everywhere, that it scatters in a kind of pattern. And I'm going to use a different seed so it's not just the standard seed. So we're going to pick one of the 100,000 or million different seeds here that it can pick. See, if I just do it, it just picks a whole different. So we just have a random kind of pattern. Okay, now this elevation, slope, and all of that orientation, we're going to leave all that alone. Now scaling, we want to inherit the object scale because remember I rescaled it. So I want it to start at that scale. Okay, and then what? The only scaling that I really want it to do is, now I'm thinking this could actually, I don't want to just scale it up and down. I want to scale it completely, like so that it uniformly scales. So I'm going to use this complete scale, so it'll scale all together on X, Y, and Z. Now, 100% is enough. I don't need to make some of them. Maybe we could go 110. Okay, but then we're going to scale it to 75. All right, so we're going to have some tall ones and some short ones. Okay, now rotation. Don't tell me why this works, but you just drag these both up to some degree. I think what this X and Y plus and minus is that if you leave them like at a low amount, like, or you just bring one up, then it'll just turn one way because so Y means it scales that way, and from like this, it scales that way, and the other one scales this way, 90 degrees or 180 degrees. So Y is, or the increment in degrees, I have no idea, but I just know it doesn't work unless you pull these up, both up a bunch, okay? Inherit object rotation, it doesn't matter because I didn't rotate the object, and so it can use the original rotation. Now with scaling, I did scale it down, so I wanted to inherit the scale that I picked and then work from there. Okay, now I believe we are ready to scatter. And now I usually go back over this just to make sure. Units, centimeters, I guess that's good unless we were doing a mountain or something. Number of instances, Let's try 1,183. We're limiting it to the camera. We're actually looking at perspective view right now. Let's scatter. Okay, rotation is all good. Rotation point, this is all good. So let's scatter. We're going to have some gems here. They are going to scatter. This will work. Okay, now let's go back to our camera view. Now, as you can see, they didn't scatter along the road. Okay. I think if we've had a few less, so we can open Ultra Scatter back up. And let's go back to, now this lets us pick right up where we were. So we can just go to, let's go to 500 and see what that looks like. It's just too many. It's a little island. That still looks like too many. Now, are they actually, it doesn't look like they're rotating. It does look like there are different sized ones, okay? So I'm not positive, but it doesn't look like they're actually rotating. Maybe they, yeah, they're rotating. Okay. So I think fewer, still fewer. Let's go to 200. Let's even go down a little more. Let's go to 100. Now, I can take this piece of land and I can scatter another object. So let's actually go with, all right, I think we'll leave it at that. Angus, welcome, 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 my friend. It's good to have you here. Thank you. We are doing some ultra scatter fun. Did you just check in or have you been here all along? I'm just hoping that you caught the beginning of this. So we are using ultra scatter. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go and use ultra scene. Now I'm wondering if these are too large, because this road looks tiny, like for a road. These kind of look large. I'm thinking that maybe, okay, if I take my crystal here and I go to its scale. Ah, okay. Well, good to have you here. Somebody's been here all along. Then we're going to bring that scale down to quite a bit smaller. Now, if I come back here to my Ultra Scatter Pro, I think it's this one. I'm not sure which one I have to select. I think it's that. Yes. Then we can do a surface scatter. I think they'll all be smaller now. Yes, they are smaller. So this gives us, okay. That's good. Now this is, now what we can do, remember I told you can hide the terrain, but still leave. Now you notice, see that's the coolness about this, because now I can turn on the ultra scenery terrain and that follows the contour, and notice how much nicer the ultra scenery terrain looks. Okay, so now we're going to do our ultra scenery and add some grass and some other things in here. Okay, we can add trees and stuff. So let's go now to our ultra scenery creator. And we already have the right features, so let's pick an ecology. How about if we pick this really weird one down here, this is an alien one. Let's pick this planet Tyra. Planet Tyra. Okay. And let's pick this blue lake water. We have it set to the camera. Let's just build a scene and see what happens. So now this isn't affecting our other plane at all. It's like it's not even thinking about these crystals being here. And it's going to change the terrain color, but we have the other terrain like turned off. So we're not really adding any more geometry to this because the other terrain will be turned off for this scene. So it shouldn't have any problem with the other geometry. Now we're going to see. This is going to look weird. So, all right. It is generating the scene. I might have to take a bunch of stuff out of here. So, I mean, it might just completely cover the crystals. I have no idea. I've never tried to generate planet Terra before. Tiara. I have tried to do it, and it didn't work. It, like, crashed. Now that I think of it, I should have saved this before I tried to generate planet Terra. But let's see what happens. Road pebbles. This is going to be extremely detailed. It's going to be planet Terra with crystals. So that is going to be pretty cool. And it looks like it's working. And it looks like planet Terra may have its own crystals. So these are just going to be an object, and the people are going to look and say, oh, did he like place all those crystals there by hand? It looks like there's 150 there or 100 there. Crystals. How did he place all those crystals? And they've all been rotated and resized, and each one is in a different place. So, yeah, and the computer did all that for me. It scattered them just to the bottom of the crystal all over the land. And you know what? I could have also messed with the, I should have messed with the rotation a little bit with the up and down rotation. I can still go back and open that and mess with the rotation a little bit. Okay, it's going to be here a moment here. And then we're going to click done. And we're going to see what happened. What's happened? I believe that these have been fixed. Now look at this. Okay, it's not letting me click done. Hello, what happened to done? Okay, done. Close. All right, we're going to click save. So we don't, if it crashes, we don't lose our work. All right, now Iray should pop up. Okay, we have to switch. I always do this at the wrong time. We have to switch this to, okay, this would be render settings. Optimization, we have to switch this to memory. I might have to close Daz and reopen it to get this to work. But that looks pretty cool. It looks like those crystals are going to fit right in here. And the thing is, they're all kind of pointed up. They should be kind of angled a little bit. Each one should have a little angle to it. Oh, look at this now. And look, there already were kind of these little, looks like little crystal kind of things here already. So, yeah. Look what we have here. So we struck gold, people. They don't look that bad that way, but we can't, because we can, we should. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to angle the crystals a little bit more so they're not straight up and down like that, so that they're a little bit yawed off a little, kind of. I don't know, that it could kind of work against us because it could push this crystal through that crystal. I think I'm going to leave them like this. Oh, they look like candy. They look really good. So this is the planet Terra, and this is where they grow crystal. This is a crystal farm, okay? Just in case you didn't know, this is a crystal farm, and I am loving this now. So our other terrain is turned off, and so what we're going to do is put a pink sky behind here. And then we're going to put some weird little boat maybe here. I don't know. I'm not sure. We might do away with this. Here. Can I hide this? Where is it? Okay, we're going to go out of Iray. So yeah, this worked. Now I could have put other crystals, but I think these pink ones just fit like perfectly here. So we're gonna get out of Iray. I think other crystals might have messed it up. Okay, we got dock 1 and dock 2. We could hide them. I'm gonna hide this one, but I'll delete the other one. It's on the other side of the island. We will never see that anyway. And let's see if we can find some kind of really weird alien boat to put here. And let's find an alien to put in the scene. Let's figures. Let's do some transportation. And see what we have. What's this? Okay, our starship is buried. Okay, we're gonna rotate it so that the burners are. I can't tell what it's doing. What's up with this? Okay, this looks like the front, so we're gonna rotate it Y like this, and like this. We'll scale it down a little bit. And then we'll kind of go like this. Bring it out a little more. And maybe yaw it up a little bit here, this way. Like this. And like this. Bring it up a bit. Scale it some more. All right, there it is. Let's see what that looks like. Let's hope this is the spaceship is in Iray. Okay. And I hope you guys are taking notes, because you're going to want to put your own objects in your ultra scenery land like this someday. Now let's take a look at this starship and see if it's Iray. That looks okay there. We're going to put an alien standing in on the land. Okay, 9. Come on. All right. Let's see what this surface look like. Is this? Yes, it is an Iray. So this starship is Iray. Very cool. So now let's find an alien. I always think, what am I going to put for clothes for aliens? Like, do aliens even wear clothes? Here we go. This is Supreme Intelligence for Genesis 8 male. Yeah. They're going to appear way up here. We'll bring them. I'm going to stand them right here. I could put them here also. That might be better at the. Yeah. Put them here on the landing. It's like, I've been waiting. Where have you been all day? Did you bring my lunch? Okay, there's the alien. Bring the alien forward. And maybe we don't need clothes for them. We do need a pose. They're just your average kind of grunt workers. Okay. Let's see what this looks like. Well, okay, it just switched to my perspective. I must have put the wrong key. Okay. I hit the P key. Okay. So the only thing is the alien pose. We got to find a pose for them, a standing pose that looks like. And then we got to do the sky with something truly magnificent. Okay. So now let's do the alien pose so we get that out of the way. The only thing is the alien looks kind of small. I like to have my figures close to the camera so you can kind of see that they're, but you can tell that's an alien. So we're going to go out of Iray again so we can manipulate the pose here. By function, let's go to Files. By function, standing, and filter by context. Okay. Alien. Okay, it just jumped me all around. Now standing, okay. Now we don't want them. Okay, here we go. There, that works. Let's turn them a little bit. It's like, where have you been? Okay. Save this. Now let's zoom in on the alien's feet to make sure they're not going through the ground, or that he's not floating in the air. Hello. All right, let's go here. All right, I don't know how I got him there so well, but that kind of works right there. Okay. If you only had 3 toes, you'd only have to like clip like 6 fingernails. Maybe they don't even have to clip their nails. So, okay, let's go to here. This is all very nice. Save this. All right, we just got to work on the sky. So I have now shown you, this is my own brainchild, how to duplicate the land, how to duplicate your ultra scenery. Now I'm going to tell you another secret also, okay? That you can go into ultra scenery, you can pick a terrain, and you can put a few items on that terrain, and then you can open another instance of ultra scenery, put in that exact terrain, then use a different ecology and put only a few things on that terrain. And because both terrains are superimposed over one another, the ecology is going to line up with them both. So then you can just, at the end, turn one of the terrains off and leave the ecology on. That's another way to kind of trick things and not have to use scripts or not have to use other programs. You can just, and it doesn't matter. There won't be any affinities. There won't be any of that kind of stuff. There won't be interdependencies. They should work. Sometimes some of these ultra scatters don't like to work if they don't have other items with them. But the accelerator kind of ignores that. If there are affinities and part of the affinities are missing, the accelerator will put them in to the scene anyway. So now we have a sky to do, and what I'm going to do is what I normally do is I'm going to use a plane, because I prefer a plane over the HDRI skies. I prefer a plane because then I can take a giant, like a 16K HDRI and spread that out over a small plane rather than a whole 360-degree. And then I can get a really, 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 really detailed sky in front of my scene. I prefer that. So every time I think of using an HDRI, I just say, no, I'm going to use a plane. So we're going to go Y-trans. Okay, first we have to set this at 90 so that our plane is at least straight up and down. Now we can translate it up a little bit like this. We can scale it like this. We can scale it like this. And we can rotate it a little bit like this. We can send it back. Oh, we lost it. Okay, like that. We can go Z and send it way, 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 way back. Way, 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 way back. Not too far. Okay, that. X translate. Now we're going to do this. And we're going to now scale it like that. X translate. Y translate. And rotate it a little bit here. Okay, now we're going to save the scene so we don't lose our work. And then we can now take click on the surfaces for our plane. Plane, go to base color, browse. And this is going to take me right into my, okay, what about this right here, frozen, okay, with the pink skies. Sometimes it comes in upside down. Wow. Okay, this is off. So we're going to scale it a little bit. Look at the detail we get with this. Okay, we're going to scale this. I'm lost. Okay, parameters here, so that's why. Okay, and now let's take and fix our surface. We have to put this same map. What's it called? It is called, come on. It's called Eco. So it'd be up in the A's. Well, all right, there it is, A. We're going to put that for our mission color. The mission color is going to be white, because it's not really going to be white, because it's going to be this. And we'll set that at 2. Put a 2 in front of there. And there is, now it looks crooked, so we're going to have to bring it down a little more. Our horizon looks weird. There, maybe that's it. Let's see what we've got. This is going to be it. Now I've got to do something with my scene. I've got lighting. Now it's usually the last thing you do in your scene is lighting. It doesn't mean that you don't do some lighting at the beginning also, but wow. Okay. We got something here. Now, all right, what we see this big light here, that I believe is from my camera, and that's why we have lighting problems. And we should probably have a spotlight on this guy so that he stands out more. So that's what I mean, the lighting, okay. Now the terrain looks okay. Now what I could do is we got a couple of options here. So we could take this plane in the background and parameters and scale it very large, and then Y translate, and bring it down like this. Okay. So scale. All right, now what I want to do is Z-scale, because the sun looks a little bit. All right, then we can bring it down. Y translate, hide the land. Let's see what this looks like, because that frozen tundra was kind of distracting. It takes away from the. It draws you away from the island a little bit. I mean, it's a matter of aesthetic. You might like it the other way. Okay, I like it this way. I like this better. But because it's more isolated, but I've got to bring the sun up a little bit, because the foliage was hiding it. So we'll take and go to this. See if I can do this storing while we're in Iray. Now we could bring this up a little bit so we can see the mountains, and also the come on. All right, we have to save this so I don't have to go back and do things. Okay. There we go. That is very nice. And look, we have a little bit of a moon here. I like that. Okay, I think we could turn some of this brightness off of our plane a little bit. Okay, okay, 9. Let's just bring, because the backlight is a little bit high. So we go to surfaces, plane. Okay, save this, plane, save this so we don't have to, we don't lose our work. Okay. Now I'm going to put, okay, we're going to back that off a little bit while I have that in my mind. Luminance, bring that down to 1. And then we're going to add a spotlight. As soon as I add the spotlight, my camera light will turn off. So that big kind of light there that was in there will be gone. All right. Now we look through the spotlight, bring the spotlight up, zoom it back a little bit. Okay, like this. And then we're going to bring the spotlight in like this. And like this. Okay. I think like this more. So he doesn't have like, so his eyes show and it's not like big black parts, like, because if the light comes down, it's going to cause this big shadow to cover, just completely cover his eyes. So you almost always want, you don't want your spotlight coming down on your figure unless you're looking for that kind of effect. You always want the spotlight to, it doesn't matter if it comes at an angle, that's okay if one side of the face is a little brighter. The reason why I'm kind of doing this, because I sort of want it to look like the light's coming from the ship. But you want it so that it can light his eyes. Okay. Now that's that. Save this again. I'll have to adjust the light. There's probably not strong enough. So we'll go to parameters, light. And we'll go down here to the light. And let's put a 6 there in front of that one. We'll bring the temperature down just a tiny bit so it's not white. It's a little bit warm. And then we're going to now add a VDB. I'd like to have some like pink mist coming up off the water. So we're going to go and add a VDB and control alternate minus, close all that up. Okay. And let's go to VDB default. Let's see if what we can find. We're going into products, VDB. And we're looking for this product. Props. Let's use these little spindly fog. Okay, we got to bring this out because it's way over there. And over here. Let's see what this looks like. Okay. going to probably be coming out of the water. Well, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, there's some fog there. So we're going to go and scale the fog up a little bit. All right, let's go and, all right, we got to scale the fog up. Parameters. Nine. Let's bring the fog out a little bit more. And rotate it a tiny bit. Like, oops, see? What did I just do? Okay, that works. Pull this out a little more. Okay. Let's see what we've got. All right, that works, but we've got to take and bring it down a little bit, the fog. Okay, now I have another problem here. We have to turn off our HDRI lighting. So, because we just want the lighting from, if we're going to light this, we're going to light it with something else other than our HDRI. Because we got the sun coming like right from the other direction, right in, over some kind of, I don't know what it is. 9. Let's go to our, where is it? Okay, environment options. Yeah, obviously this is where our light is coming from, this white area in this map. So we're going to turn dome and scene only. We're going to turn off the ground. Okay, so now let's see what happens. We should have complete and utter control now of our lighting. Everything should be dark now. Okay, I hit that P again. You know, I've never done that before, and today I've done it twice. Maybe I've done it like once or twice in the last 6 years, I think maybe. But I remember I just never do that. Accidentally hit the P key while I'm hitting the 0. Okay, so what? Okay, I know what's happening. That is our HDRI doing that. We've just completely lost our scene. So, not necessarily, though. What we could do... Okay, we have to turn down the HDRI. It's too bright. What are we going to do? How are we going to do this? So we go to our plane, surfaces, plane, and plane, luminance. Let's just take that 1 off and let's go to 500 and see what that looks like. I think I'm going to do a little trick here where I'm going to use the same HDRI twice. Yes, I am. Now, because what I could do is I could just put a distant light in, but a distant light isn't going to give me like a gradient of color on my scene. It's just going to give me one color. And what I want to do is light this up with a gradient color that's like the sky, so that it's going to mirror what it lights here is going to mirror what's coming off the sky. So what we're going to do is go back to our environment, and we're going to go to our parameters. We're going to turn the sky back on, dome and scene. We're going to take this environment map and we're going to use the same environment map that we have there. Draw dome on, and let's see what we have now. So we're using the same map twice. One to give us a really nice detailed sky in back of us, but then we're using the map around the whole scene to give the scene like a gradient light that's coming off of the sky rather than just one color shooting at the whole scene everywhere. Which sometimes that's what you want, is one color, okay? This is exactly what I want. It's not exactly, but it's pretty darn close. Let's take our... Now, for some reason, this darned sun here is just so darned bright. So we're going to go back here to this plane and our surfaces. I would think 5, or let's go to like 10. All right. Luminance. Emission temperature, okay. Let's see if that brings it down. I don't mind a little bit of it shining back in the scene from behind, but there's just like, wow, a lot. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for the likes, people. If you have missed the beginning of this video, you need to see it. How did I get these crystals scattered all over this ultra scenery terrain? Well, you're going to get to find out how, and it's not by using JSON files. Okay, this works. Suddenly we have what we need. So what we're going to do is take this now, our Spindly fog. We're going to take that and make it less dense so it's just barely visible. Okay, and that would be by going like to maybe 1. And we want to make the fog pink. All right, there we go. The fog is pink. And then we can now, okay, save this. And now what we're going to do, it's starting to come together. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to adjust our, see, I kind of like the way the sky is coming from that angle. We've got to do this in Iray. Okay, I'm going to select the environment. And we're going to write down, so we can come back to it if it's something really worth doing, we're going to go to parameters. Now our dome rotation is at 0. Okay. Let's try messing with the dome rotation. So now we're going to rotate the dome around everything and change the angle of the sun. See, I really like this. This is what we want, is this angle lighting this side of him. So this is like exactly what we want. Exactly. But I wonder if that's this light lighting him. No, and see these crystals here, this is what we want with the crystals as well. But you know, this dome, this tint of the environment tint, I think the environment light could be a little bit pink too. So maybe we just give it a little bit of pinkness. So it's not quite so white. So we select this pink color here. And then we just drag this down a little bit so that it's just barely pink. This is going to make it a lot pink. Yeah, see what we did just there? It just made it look kind of pink. All right. I think our scene is done. Now I'm seeing a little bit of a problem. Like this land is sticking out. Oh, maybe it is square. Across. All right, let's save this. And then okay, now the sun looks like it's stretched a little bit. Don't you think so? So we're going to just pull our plane in a little bit. Let's mess with our plane a little bit. X scale. That is nice. We'll go here. What happens if we bring this up a little bit like that? Okay. Art is 90% of art is having an eye for it, because you have to be able to scrutinize, and you can learn that. It's not something that you have to be born with. You know, a lot of, like with music, you can't be tone deaf. You can't be born tone deaf. You're just not going to be able to do a lot of things musically that you might want to do. But when it comes to a lot of things with music, just because you're tone deaf doesn't mean that you don't know a good song. And there are many, many things that tone deaf people can do musically. Many. You are not like disqualified from music just because you can't sing or just because you can't play an instrument. So now I'm going to turn this see there again. I can just turn this little light up that I have here, this spotlight, and illuminate him a little more. Just little things like that. You see that you notice me doing in the scene. It's because of many, many, many scenes that I've made. That now I think there's a way to get fire here. Let's look into that, okay? Because it might be nice to have fire coming out of here rather than, it just could be kind of a cool effect, but we'll see. I don't no, I think that's enough, because if I do the fire, it could try to light up this fog in a weird way. So I think I'm going to just not try with the fire. We have enough of this. With this, that's enough to kind of give the idea that it's not, that it's on. All right, so, but we're going to now go into our spotlight, and we're going to just give this a little bit more and see if we can light him up a little bit. And we could even add a little bit of pinkness to the spotlight, but we'll see. Just see what it looks like. We want him to stand out. Or her. I'm not sure what gender this alien is. Okay. You know, that doesn't look like it lit the alien at all. The spotlight could just be far enough away that it's... Let's look through the spotlight and just make sure it's actually pointing at the alien. Something might have thrown it off. Spotlight. Yes, it is. Okay, back to our camera. Save this. Okay, so we've got our spotlight selected. Let's make this spotlight a 9. This is okay, we have lights. We have lights are available in the scene. Sometimes lights just won't work because you have certain things in the scene that stop them from working. Okay, so save. Okay, we're going to go to... Oh, we lost some of our viewers. Okay. Okay, that lit them up. And also gave them a shadow, which I can get rid of if I need to. I like the way they're lit up. It's just, it may not seem like... Okay, so what I can do now, 9, I can soften that shadow. I don't want it that hard, the shadow. So we'll go to our spotlight. And we go to now our width and height. Let's bring this like that. And like this, diameter, I guess. And we'll, instead of a point, we're going to go a rectangle. Width. Okay, let's see what that does. Go back to our camera. See if that just softened that shadow a little bit. Sometimes I like hard shadows, but that was a little distracting. There'll be a shadow there, but it won't be so hard. I think it's going to still be hard because I'm looking at this little square there, and I think that's and that's not very, okay, that's soft enough. That's soft, and I could still make it bigger. But that did soften it a lot. Okay, so let's go to 150. Okay, I think we're going to try to render this. Yeah, that's good. So that's what we're going to try to do, is now give this a nice render. I love the way this light is hitting these little crystals here. Save this. Okay. And now we're going to do our render settings, which would be general. Okay, 8,000. We'll do a 2,000 render. And we're going to go to progressive. Now, what I would like to do with this scene, okay, we're going to go maximum samples, is I would like to add refraction and stuff like that. No, it's not refraction it's called, but spectral rendering, which you use for glass things, like things that are glass. And that will give these an extra kind of oomph to them. And then there's also in, what is it called? Where is that? Spectral rendering, filtering, is it? No. No, it's alpha, no. Progressive render, is it here? No. Optimization. Caustic. Sampler. We'll turn that on and see if this gives the glass like an extra kind of depth and shine to it, and inner reflective kind of thing going on with it. As you can see, it takes a lot of art. You are here. Angus is with us as well. Thank you for stopping in. You have to watch the beginning of this video. What we did here in this video is I took and brought in an ultra scenery terrain. I copied just the terrain, and then I took sections of the terrain and I made surfaces out of it. And so the copied terrain is superimposed in the exact position as the ultra scenery terrain. Then I used ultra scatter so on the copied terrain, and then I used ultra scenery on the other terrain. So we have an ultra scenery terrain and then a dummy terrain with ultra scatter, and that's where we got our crystals here, okay, is from ultra scatter on a dummy ultra scenery terrain. And as you can notice, the crystals didn't go in the road. That's because I showed how I make surfaces, how I isolate surfaces on the ultra scenery terrain. And it's not a massive kind of, look how what it did to our VDB. It gave it like little particles kind of. All right, let's see how this renders. We're going to save this. Oh, yes, I can see little refraction now in the crystals. This looks very refractive. That's exactly what it needed, these caustic samplers and all of this. I don't know if this is going to render. Yes, awesome. We have some awesome people here now. So I am going to hit render, and we're going to see what this looks like now with a render. We're going to have some beautiful crystals here. If it allows it to render, if it's not like, one iteration every minute, it could end up that way. So yes, I spent over 8 hours, most of the night and most of yesterday, trying to figure out how to scatter my own any kind of prop or anything on an ultra scenery terrain, and there's a way to do it with scripts, okay? But I didn't want to use scripts because I felt that it would kind of interfere with the ultra scenery experience. So what I did was I rendered just the terrain. I turned off all of the other ultra scenery stuff. Well, you'll have to see it. And I duplicated the terrain. And they're both in the exact same position. And then what I did was I just turned the second terrain off once I had already scattered stuff on it. I think you can scatter stuff on the terrain even with it turned off. So this is going slow. This is rendering really slow because I have all of this caustic samplers on, and I have all of these. It's rendering really slow, and I believe it's still rendering if we look, it's still rendering with the graphics card. It's just totally overwhelmed. Now it's rendering a few at a time. Like it takes a moment and then renders 4, 5, 6. So it's only using 8% of the CPU. So it's rendering and it's using 98% of the GPU. And look at this. It's only using. It's not a little over half of my video RAM. So this has nothing to do with the fact that it's using so much video RAM. It has to do with the fact that it's so ray trace. That the rays of light are so there's so much interaction with the rays of light. Let's see what this looks like. Wow. Okay, so this is going to take a while. Oh my gosh, I didn't notice these little mountains here. Oh, I just thought of something. Okay, these mountains here, I think those are a reflection. I guess they're okay. Let's see what our No, I guess they're okay. No, see that I don't think they are okay. What they are is my HDRI is reflecting on my plane, and my plane has too much shine on it. So it's like reflecting the sky in front of it is reflecting on it, and somewhere there might actually even be another. I'm quite certain that's what it is, and I don't want that to be the case. I don't want those mountains in there. I just want because it's like, why are there mountains over top of the sun? So cancel this. So we have to look at our plane and mess with our. It is so awesome to have you here. What is this black thing? Oh, that must be something. What is that black thing? Is that my light? Why is that showing up in the render? Okay. All right, we'll have to figure that out too. So we're going to select this plane. Go out of here. Select the plane. All right, we're going to go to our surface. Plane. I think the glossiness, if we turn the glossiness to black, glossy color to black, it will not reflect. And then we can turn this glossy roughness up just a little bit, and it won't reflect that. Now, what's up with this? Now let's go to the spotlight and go to our parameters, and I think we got to set the display to visible in render, maybe off. Show base, that should be off. That's off. Show edge. Edge opacity. All right, let's do a real quick render now and see if the mountains are gone. Save this. See what we've got here. And we go to Smart Content. Okay, now back to render settings. Render. Okay. Let's see if we still are seeing that light in the... I might have to use a ghost light here. Which would be okay. Okay, let's see what we've got. All right. Now we do have a light here, but the mountains are gone now. All right, so that worked. We got rid of the mountains, okay, which was a very odd kind of thing. I don't mind the mountains reflecting on this, but not on the plane in the back. Okay, so this is, we got to get rid of that light. Okay, would you like to cancel this render? Yes. This is not acceptable. Now, I'm not sure. I think if I just go here, let's just do a test and see if I go to... if we go to our spotlight, go to parameters, and we say visible in render off. Now let's try to render this, Control R. See if it still actually shines a light, but it doesn't show its that square. I think there's something you have to run on the light to turn it into a transparent mesh light. There's new stuff in Daz. I think it used to be just transparent, but there may be things you have to do now to make it transparent. We'll see. Is it still going to show its light even though I turned that off in visible in render? Usually they're not visible because maybe I don't need a light. Maybe the HDRI is going to light him all, and we don't need like an artificial light kind of lighting him and making him, because it looks like he's going to be lit up enough. I think I might just let it go without the light. Okay, this is what it looks like with just 2 iterations, so that's not bad. But we got to go up to at least 1,000 iterations on this. I think he's going to be lit up enough. If I put a light on him, it's just going to white him out, you know? And now he looks like he's got some drama to his lighting. He's lit up enough. So yeah, these crystals worked out well to put these on. And they don't look like they're just a copy of each other because they're different size. They're supposed to be rotated. I'm not sure that the rotation worked that well. There's a little bit of rotation. See, this one's kind of rotated. This one's rotated in a little bit. That one's rotated with, yeah, they rotated. It's not quite as evident and apparent, but if they hadn't rotated, it would be just very obvious. Welcome, people. Welcome. You are coming in on the tail end of this. We're up to iteration 8 now. We're hoping that this is going to completely reticulate, and all these little dots are going to go away once we get up to a few thousand iterations. So you want to watch the beginning of this tutorial, because I show you how to take, and now what I did was scattered. This is ultra scenery, and I've scattered I just picked out these crystals out of my props list and scattered them on an ultra scenery landscape. If you want to learn how to do that, you can watch the beginning of this. And I do not use scripts to do it. You don't have to edit any scripts to do this. It's all stuff you can do without editing scripts. We duplicated the landscape, and you do have to have a couple of programs to do this, which are programs you should probably own anyway. You should own Ultrascatter. So I used Ultrascatter. I created a duplicate of the landscape. I used Ultrascatter, and then I took these and I made surfaces, special surfaces. I selected these surfaces, and I show you how to do that. And I made a special surface on the duplicate land. Then we hid the duplicate land after we scattered these crystals on here. I show you how to scatter them, how to set it up so that they are different sizes and they are different rotation. And I kind of wish I had yawed them a little bit. Some of them would have been yawed a little bit here and there. But to me, they look great this way. They just look awesome. And they didn't appear, they don't come in the road. They're not coming out of the water on the land. They're only in the areas where I wanted them to be. So we are doing really well. We added a VDB in the front here, and that's gonna reticulate really well. We're only up to iteration 17. By the time this hits to 2000, this VDB is going to be nice and fine and beautiful. So this is all going to clarify. And what we did was use caustic, the caustic, and also the refraction option. So these crystals, because this is taking a long time to render, and this is using my graphics card to render. This is not using the CPU to render, even though it's like going at a crawl. And I'll show you this setting here. You see the GPU is just completely, but I'm only using half of my video RAM, which means it's all because of the light hitting. These are going to be so beautiful here. Once they reticulate, they're going to all have little bits of the sun of this light coming into them and refracting in all of these. And they're going to also shine, like they're going to glow and light up the area around them. They're going to, the reflection that's inside is going to escape out and kind of light up the areas around the crystals. So it's not going to have massive glow effect, but it will translate to the items around the crystals. So this is going to be really interesting to see. And this came out really nice, how the little moon came right in there. That and the sun right in the center. This is a plane in the background. So you'll get to see this is a must. If you love using ultra scenery, this is a must. Excellent art. Thank you very much for watching and going back and checking this out. Yeah. There are 3 programs you need to own to do this. You need to have your ultra scenery, and you'd also want to have, if you want to, use this particular in ecology, you'd have to have, I forget what this is called, but it's one of the ultra scenery ecologies. So you'd have to own this ecology as well, and you'd have to own these crystals. These crystals just came out. They're a new product. They came out a couple months ago. But there are other Daz crystals, but I used the pink ones for this. You also have to own, which it works. You should probably own 3D to Iray. And 3D to Iray it's been around for a few years, but it's like basically it goes through your scene and it looks and it finds 3D things and it replaces them all with Iray Uber base textures. So everything that's in your scene, it uses the same images, but it just pulls the rug out from under it, puts the Uber base in, puts your images in, puts the images into an Iray base. So it converts everything from, and you'll see how I use that program to do this. So, the Uber base 3D to Iray. Look it up in the Daz store. Let's go there. Go to Daz. 3D 3DEL to, and where is it? It says it's going to be right here somewhere. This particular program is something, this converter, it might be under 3D Converter. It's been around for a while, so it may be back like on the earlier pages. I don't think it's been around. This is all like Michael 4 stuff. So 3D, let's go Iray. Let's see if this comes up with this. Let's try 3D. There it is. So this product, it's on sale right now. It's $10. Okay, it does work, and I will caution you though, because it's going to look at your PBR textures that are on your Genesis 9 figures, and it's going to think they're 3D, and it's going to convert them to Iray, and you don't want that. Okay, so you have to uncheck all of the little boxes or just convert the thing you want to convert to Iray and save it in your things. And it does it. It literally takes a scene that looks, that doesn't look right, and it just completely, I think this is kind of an exaggeration because this is a bloom effect, but no, it really beautifies your scene, and it does it in like one. It does the whole scene in one click, so in about 4 clicks. Okay, so this 3D, it's very relevant because you have probably a lot of 3D stuff, and you can just instantly convert them to Iray, and then you can tweak them a little bit, but I would say 99% of the time it looks better, like much better, okay? And then it puts it in the right language for Iray. But like I said, just to caution you that it will try to convert your PBR textures for your figures into Iray, and they're not Iray, they're PBR. They're a different language. They work in Iray, but they're PBR. They have a different Uber base. So this is RiverSoft and SickleYield. This is an amazing product, and so I use this product to pull off this thing. So yeah, they're using some kind of bloom thing here. All right, so to create this. So maybe because maybe the photometric lights and flame lights, materials, emitters, and Irays. Now you're ready to render. It does. Look how beautiful the textures are here. I think the bloom is a little bit overdrawn. There might be a little bit of hype in some of these pictures, but it really works. Okay, so this is something you have to have. You have to own is your 3D Light to Iray Converter, because you can take an entire scene. What you want to do is put the scene in that's 3D Light. Make sure you don't have any figures or any PBR things in the scene. Convert your scene and then work from there. Convert the entire scene all in one batch. And it does all the lights. It does everything. Rarely does it ever mess up. This is a particular product from RiverSoft and SickleYield that works. So I would pick it up now if you can, and if you've never used it, you will use it. And so you always want to go into your. Let's see what this looks like. Oh yeah, it's coming along here. Look at these crystals. They are going to look so awesome once they focus. So what you do is you go into the shaders and you look and see, does the shader say base or does it say diffuse? And if it says diffuse, then it's an 3D Light. Now, a PBR texture is going to say base, but this converter is going to look at it and say, oh, but I still think that this is a 3D Light, because 3D Light is PBR is also. And so it's going to try to convert, and it will just all of a sudden your Genesis 9 eyes are going to be like white, and it's going to just completely corrupt your Genesis 9 figures. So make sure they're not in the scene when you run the scan to scan the scene, and it'll scan the whole scene and show you all of the PBR stuff. Just make sure you only have that PBR object in the scene when you go to convert it, but it will convert like whole castles or cathedrals, everything. It'll convert the whole scene, and it does it flawlessly. It just does a perfect job converting anything that's, so you can go into the Daz store and you don't have to really worry. It'll convert plants. It'll convert all kinds of things. There were a few things that it got the mapping a little wrong. A couple things that I noticed that it didn't map right. But the plants sometimes, the leaf patterns and stuff, it can kind of mess some of those up. But usually it will do plants and 3D Light plants and turn them right into Iray, and then they're going to look amazing. So this is a product. So you have to have this product. You have to have Ultra Scatter, and that's here, Ultra Scatter. Now, is Ultra Scatter on sale as well? Now, don't buy this advanced, upgrade Oh, okay. This is this is if you have the advanced one. This is the upgrade to the Pro. Okay, so this if you own the Ultra Scatter Advanced, you can go up for $15 to the Pro. Now you're going to see this Ultra Scatter Advanced. Okay, don't buy that. Okay, that is what you want is the Ultra Scatter Pro. I bought the Ultra Scatter Pro, and then I noticed in the store, oh no, they have Ultra Scatter Advanced. And so it was on sale anyway, but I bought it. And then I found out, oh, this is the one below Ultra Scatter Pro. And I did not get in touch with Daz and say I'd like my money back. And why did you let me even buy this in the store if you knew I owned the Pro? And, I just didn't do it because I have gotten so many deals from Daz on stuff that I just figured, okay, stupid me. But don't be stupid. Don't buy the Advanced. Just get the Pro, okay? And if you own the Advanced, don't buy the Pro. You want to buy the upgrade. Ultra Scatter Pro upgrade from Ultra Scatter Advanced. And so you need those. Ultra Scatter is kind of like involved, but it's not that involved. It's not. I have plenty of videos that show exactly. In fact, I think I pretty much in this video, at the beginning of this video, show you just about everything you need to know about Ultra Scatter, how to use it. So. Yeah, so because I'm really good with Ultra Scatter. I'm not. There are people who are better at it, but I understand most of what it does. Most of it. There are things that throw me for a loop every once in a while, but you will learn enough to get around by watching the beginning of this video. So you need to have ultra scenery. You need to have some a few of these ecologies that go with ultra scenery. You should own the ultra scenery accelerator. You don't want to use ultra scenery without the ultra scenery accelerator. Okay, that's going to be better. I'll watch the whole thing tomorrow, sure, for sure. You can still reason to get it back since you bought the advanced one first. They should put out flags when you put something less superior in your basket, though. Yeah, they should. They should have. I totally agree with that. The only thing is that I did buy it like for $5 on sale, and yes, they should, and they usually do in the Daz Store Art. They usually. That's why you can hide items I own, all right? They usually do. In this particular instance, they didn't. And it was partially my bad. $5 is $5, but it's not worth spending an hour writing an email and going through their return process, waiting a few days, dealing with a credit card transaction. I think I bought it on a credit card, on a debit card that's got a different number now because my bank sent everybody new cards with different numbers just out of the blue recently. There's just dealing with that for $5 isn't worth it. And the fact that, like I said, I have bought like $1,000 worth of items before in the Daz store. $1,000 worth of items before in the Daz store for like $40. So, yeah, I mean, they have given me. They know I love their assets. They have given me so many deals that it's just not worth quibbling over $5. But I'm telling you guys so you don't make this mistake, okay? Because theoretically you could come out and say, "Oh, this looks new. This is the Ultra Scatter Advanced." So, But if you look and see that the Pro is $40 and the Advanced is $30, that should kind of fill you in a little bit too. So now I don't own the upgrade because I bought the Pro right out off the bat, and for the Pro it's $40. I don't think I paid more than $10 for Ultra Scatter Pro. I didn't pay $40 for that. Hell no. I waited until it was on like a 60% off sale at least. So I own this Materia Mesh Maker. This is really nice. You can put snow on anything. This is really nice, and it comes with a really nice snow shader. So you can just, in one click, you can just make snow on the ground. And it's like, the snow is like thick, and it's like suddenly your terrain is like, you have to move your characters and everything up in your terrain because the snow is thick. In all honesty, Daz 3D needs to show more consideration, especially for a buyer and a videographer like you. You actually have much talent. I am not as fast and alert like I used to be in my younger day. I don't really have a lot of evidence that Daz doesn't, show consideration. I don't have a lot of personal experience with them not showing consideration. But I can tell you I have a ton of experience with them giving me deals. I mean, it's like so much. I mean, I have bought like 1,000. It's not just on one occasion. I've bought like $1,000 worth of stuff for like $40 on many occasions. Many. At one day, they had a sale. I don't know if they even knew that they were so cheap, but one of these guy, I don't know if it was RiverSoft or SickleYield or who it was, but they came out with a pose converter where you could convert all of your Michael 4 poses to Genesis 9. And I went and looked in the store and I said, well, where are all these Michael 4 poses? And I noticed they were all on sale. And I combined all of these coupons and all of this stuff, and I got about like 70 Michael 4 pose kits for $1 each. And they're usually, at least $4 or $5. And originally, in the store, they were like $10, $15 for each pose kit. And I got about like 70 Michael 4, Victoria 4 pose kits for $1 each. And each one of them had like about, 20, 30 poses with all the mirrors and all of the different, so for Victoria and for, Michael 4. And I can now use all those poses on, and like the next day, the price went up. I think they figured it out. It's like, oh, people are going to go and buy because of this product. People are going to go. Yeah, you set your home page on your Firefox browser to Daz 3D, so I remind myself to pay attention, to read their main page, rotating marquee, and then I sort their products, price, low to high. Yeah, I don't do that so much anymore, the sorting, because I own almost everything in the Daz store, So, there's no point in going low to high. I went low to high and bought all the low stuff. And I bought it all like I said, when it was $1 for each thing, when normally they're at least $20, for these things, I paid $1 for them. And so, the majority of my 3D, my massive, 50,000 item 3D library, the majority of it yes, I probably paid $10,000. I did pay $10,000 for it, but it was worth $100,000, and I paid $10,000 for it. So that's and there are people out there that pay full price for a lot of this stuff, and I didn't have to. So I did what you do. I just babysat the site every day at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning looking to see what the new sales are. And so, I mean, they've made some mistakes before. They've come out like with their whole daily new thing and had them all free. And they just said free. And like 20 minutes later, they all had prices on them. It's like, huh. And, you know, I just was about to hit the buy button. and so, yeah, I mean, they've made some mistakes before. I don't want something that's not mine. I don't want something at the cost of some other artist. I do that just to catch their freebies. Mostly I only have 5,000 according to 5,000 is huge. You are not an amateur. You are a professional. Art, you are a professional. At 5,000 items, you are a huge professional. Yup, you are. You can't not be, because these items teach you so much about all the functionality. You know, it's like, I remember when I first started out, and it's like, what are all these shader things? You know, and I come from a world where you would take a product, okay, and I mean, you take, you know, have your thing, and you'd go into this thing, and they'd show all these little balls, like little round, you know, balls, and you could go through and just pick whatever shader you wanted to put on things, kind of like the way Bryce was and everything. It took me like 2 years to figure out that I could actually change this, you know, any surface, you know, in Daz with a shader. It took me a couple of years because I kept noticing, and I went into forums, and they were not really helpful because I think people just thought, what? He's been here at this for a couple of years, and he still doesn't know what a shader is? Yeah, and people, I think, were just shocked. It's like, we're not going to answer that question because it's too easy. You know, you should know what a shader is. You should know all this by now. And so that whole, and when I finally realized how shaders worked, it was like, I was so blown away. It's like, wow, I can put a shader on anything. So, yeah. So look how this is coming out. It's now these are well, I think we're only probably at 50 iterations. 110. So we got to go up to at least 2,000. So this is going to, but these crystals are now, look, the sun is actually, this is this sun hitting from here. And there's a little bit of light coming from these little dots here. That's this light coming from behind. It's just about as much as I wanted it to have. So yes, very, very nice. And our alien looks, you can see now, actually see his rib cage and all. So, yeah, this is pretty cool. It's really awesome. I love this scene. So, yeah. This is a cool little spaceship here. Yeah, these are the crystal mines on Siberia or something. So, Yeah, so yeah, I am in the company art of another professional, and so you are very modest, and I appreciate that modesty, but feel free to be what you are. You are a pro, and feel free to shine that way in this when you're here. Your input is welcome, because you do know what you're talking about. There are many things that I don't know about. And so that's why we're all here together. That's what we're here together, is to learn and to try new things and see new things, and meld our techniques and minds together for this stuff. This looks so cool now. It's starting to really, it's only 100 iterations, but it's starting to look really cool. Now, I might give you guys some advice. I might have talked about this before, but I personally, if you're looking to upgrade your computer, and you're thinking, oh, I could get a 3090 on eBay if you have a 1080 Ti, or if you're looking to get a 3090, or you might want to buy a second one. I have two 3090s in my computer. I would recommend waiting like even a year, okay? Because I have a feeling the 5090 that's coming out is going to have 48 gigs of RAM. It might be $3,000 to buy it, okay? But I believe the 5090 is going to have 48 gigs of RAM. This is what I'm thinking. And it's going to also have DDR7 RAM in it, and it will probably be it'll be faster than two 4090s together. Okay, so don't upgrade. Wait for a year, save your money, and wait until the 5090. Now, if the 5090 comes out and it's only 24 gigs, well, then you have my permission to come on here and tell me to shut the hell up, okay? And stop giving advice. But on buying graphics cards. But if in the next year, 2024, if NVIDIA comes out with that 5090 and it's 48 gigs, and with DDR7 RAM, it's worth upgrading your computer, whatever you have to do to put that thing in your computer. It's worth doing. So don't buy a 4090, okay? Don't buy if you can get a 3090 to hold you over and it's like $1,000, yeah, buy it, okay? But don't invest deep into 3090s, into two of them, God forbid. Just don't buy anything until the 5090 comes out. Unless you're like something even lower than a 1080 Ti. So, you can get a 1080 Ti right now for a couple $100. So, so two 1080 Ti's are not a bad thing to have. So if you can get another 1080 Ti, or just get, the 3090s, they're still like $1,600. So if you just wait and take that 1,600 and now add another 1,000, you can. Because right now the 4090s only have 24 gigs of RAM, and they're a little bit faster, and they're a little bit faster than the 39. Well, they're about the speed of two 3090s, but they don't have any more RAM than the 3090s. So it's just the next big tier to be looking for. Because if you can get a 5090 that's as fast as two 4090s plus double the amount of video RAM, you will be set for years to come, okay? So that's my advice on graphics cards and all of that, is to if you can get a 3090, if you don't have a 3090, and if you can get one for $1,000, then I'd say go for it, because it's well worth owning a 3090, okay? It just completely blows the doors off a 1080 Ti, okay? But and people are selling 3090s like crazy right now, because the 4090 has come out, and the 4090, but the 4090 is like full price, and it's really expensive. And really, you can get by like really, really, really well with a 3090. Okay, so a 3090 is like, look what I'm doing with the 3090. I've got the caustic sampler on, and I can render this. Probably it will be done in 2 hours. That's 2,000 iterations, and the ray tracing going on here is amazing right now. With the caustic sampling and the other one, I can't remember what it is. They're both turned on. So this is amazing. Look at the refraction going on here. So yeah, this is, and we're only at 138 iterations. And like I said, this is rendering slow. Not because it's taking up all my video RAM. This is rendering slow because I've got massive ray tracing going on. So because of the VDB here in the front, and because we got two huge light sources. This whole plane in the back here is a emissive. This gigantic plane, that's why it's got these little lights here, because this plane in the back is creating a little bit of a backlight. And then we have a HDMI going around the whole scene. So we have those all happening at the same time. So that's another thing. And then we've got all of these light crystals, these crystals in here that are like, and we also have water in here. So this has got all of the elements, the VDB, the glass, and the water surface. And we've got two light sources, two emissives, the HDRI and this plane. So it's a ray tracing bonanza right now with this scene. So it's got this scene. To do it justice, I should probably let it render over 4,000 iterations. So this is going to render. I'm going to go and watch some Netflix and let this render and render and render and render and render. So I think I'm pretty much done with this particular. Go back, watch the beginning, learn how to put any object you want to scatter on your ultra scenery scene, and you do not have to edit JSON files to do that. You just duplicate, you follow the path that I showed you. I figured it out myself, okay? Nobody showed me how to do this. It took me all day yesterday and most of last night. So over 8 hours worth of, because once I figured it out, because it was like, then I ran into all kinds of pitfalls, and until I finally figured out, then I figured out more and I figured out more. But you have to duplicate the landscape. You have to duplicate the landscape, and then you turn it off before you render, so that these crystals were, and then you have to also use create surfaces on the landscape so that it's only going to put these crystals where you don't want them in the road, you don't want them in the water. So you have to make surfaces. I show you all that, how to do it. And you can duplicate the landscape as many times as your graphics card will allow you, because you're going to turn the landscape off anyway. Okay, yep, I'll watch for sure at least once more. That is a fantastic scene by itself alone, but the added effort makes it really spectacular. Yeah, that's what I thank you very much, Art. That's what I want, is people to look at this in the Daz store, in the Daz gallery, and say, well, I recognize this, but how did he get those crystals on the land to follow the land? And then they're going to look and say, oh, he used a script. And it's like, no, I didn't. I didn't use a script. Everything I didn't have to take something out of the scene to add this in. Okay? I didn't have to add it in and program. I just basically used ultrascatter, and I copied the land. I'm showing you an easy way to do that, an easier way than having to edit a script. Okay, because I don't like the idea of editing scripts. And the reason why I don't like that idea is because I don't want to mess up my ultra scenery. I don't want to take and accidentally mess up a scene so that it doesn't work right. And then I have to reinstall ultra scenery, and it overwrites all kinds of, I don't know what. So this is a way where you can leave your ultra scenery just the way it is. Well, it does have that kind of emerald feel, but these would be, what are pink stones? I forget what pink stones are. There are pink stones. They're not rubies, but yeah, it does have that ruby look to it. This was a lucky, because I thought, okay, I said, what am I going to scatter on here? And I thought, okay, I'll scatter. I saw these crystals, and I thought, oh, we'll scatter some crystals on the land, okay? And then I thought, oh, I'll use that. And all of a sudden, it just occurred to me, well, what terrain and what ecology am I going to use in, they might have looked good with the desert one. They might have looked good with some of the other ecologies. But then I thought, oh, well, how about that alien one, that Tiberia or whatever it is? Tourmaline. Oh, I would not have known that. Very good. I've heard of tourmaline, but I don't think of, that's not a word I'm that familiar with. So amazing. I love rubies. Rubies are probably my favorite. I think I like rubies better than I like diamonds. I'm a ruby kind of guy, even though my birthstone is amethyst, purple stone, but I'm a ruby kind of guy. I love rubies more than anything. Yep, there's just no doubt about it. I like like I said, I like them better than diamonds. It doesn't matter how valuable a diamond is. I'm a ruby guy. I am absolutely, there's just no doubt whatsoever. I don't care if it's a reconstitute. I don't care if it's a piece of glass. Just as long as it looks like a ruby, you got me. Oh, pomegranates are very, very good. Oh, you're making me very thirsty for, I love pomegranates. Yeah, they're very, very healthy for you, too. I am having some herb tea. Happens to be red as well. It is, what kind of it's? Rosehip. Yeah, pomegranates have that deep ruby color. You are very right. There are very few things that have that deep, deep red color. Yeah, it's because of the antioxidants. I think there are very few things that have more antioxidants. I think blueberries may have more antioxidants because they're darker. Yeah, the rosehip tea, it's rosehip, and then it's also, I have a mixture of all these fruits that came from, I think, Poland or maybe Russia. Yeah, Angus sent that to me. He sent me some tea. He sent me some rosehip tea too. He sent me also some mint tea, and I haven't tried that yet. So I have to try the mint tea, peppermint tea. So we have now these are starting to really kind of stand out a little bit better. We're only at 200, but now this is starting and also this pink fog here. It's starting to look really, really good. The reflections are also starting to sharpen up. Now this grass is starting to get really, the red grass. This is a really beautiful world, actually. This was done really, I think this is Martin Frost's work. If I'm not mistaken. Martin Frost is a god when it comes to foliage. This is amazing. His imagination, I think this is Martin Frost's work. Along with Howie Farks, I think that's how you say his name, with his brilliant programming skills with ultra scenery. So yes, this is all really great work. So I think I'm going to go right now. This is going to do it for me. So check out the beginning of this video, please, and learn how to do this. If you make something with ultra scenery using this technique and you scatter some stuff on here, you can leave a comment. Now, YouTube doesn't like it if you put a link, to the gallery or whatever on the YouTube page in the comments, but you can just say, I just posted a piece that I made in the gallery, and I'll go to the gallery looking for your artwork, okay? Just give me a description, maybe say it's posted under my name, blah, 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 in the gallery, and I just posted it an hour ago or whatever, because I read all my comments every single day from YouTube. So if you do make something and you scatter something, yes, good night, Angus. You have a wonderful evening. Thank you for chiming in, my friend. Thank you for being here. So good night, and I will see you in the next video. I have learned how to export, so I also spend hours and hours and hours. I've learned how to export meta-human characters into MetaTailor, okay? And then I've also learned how to bring clothing in from Daz into MetaTailor, and they seem to be working well with the MetaTailor and with the meta-humans, okay? It seems as though that's the path that MetaTailor... Yeah, rosehip tea, you don't buy a lot of it until you try it, because every brand is a little different. Like I bought some rosehip tea on Amazon, and it was like really weak. You have to and I sent Angus a whole bunch of it, like 5 boxes, I don't know of it. 100 tea bags. And it turned out like you have to let it seep for forever before it was like drinking water, hot water. So, yes, MetaTailor is a useful product. I recommend MetaTailor. I would, it's still in its early stages, but if you'll notice a lot of videos where they'll say, well, it doesn't import textures in, it does actually now import the textures from Daz. It doesn't do all of the textures. It just does the base texture, and you have to, in Unreal. I also have learned how to get rid of the flip-flops. I'm going to be showing you how to get rid of the flip-flops there's no video on YouTube on how to get rid of the metahumans. Metahumans download from the internet with flip-flops on, and you can't delete them, or at least that I know of. It's in Unreal Engine. You have to take them into Blender and delete the flip-flops, then export them out of Blender, then bring them in. And if you leave the flip-flops on them, when you go to put shoes on them in MetaTailor, the shoes will just blow up. So, yeah, shoes don't fit very well on your feet when you have flip-flops on them already. So you have to get the flip-flops off the characters. I'm going to be showing you all that stuff about that, and we're going to be working with MetaTailor soon. I just thought I would show you this awesome tip that I've learned. See, I'm making these videos because I have a short memory. And when I do something like this, like I scatter a bunch of stuff on these. Now notice look at this in this image here. Now I can see something really cool happening. The crystals, these little things, these little puff balls here, whatever they are, they're reflecting off of the crystals. I can see their reflection on the crystals. And that's part of that like caustic kind of thing going on with this. And the crystals have these lights within them, like a refraction within them, shining and lighting these up. So they're kind of interacting together. So, yeah, I'm making these also for my own use, because when I learn something, I can just go back to my video and say, how did I do that again? And I do that all the time. I go back to my videos. Yes, it does. It's actually just making these videos alone keeps your memory sharp. So I'm even more encouraged to make videos someday. Yes, do it. Then I can watch your videos. Like the Superman crystals, that just gave me a massive image, yes, of green crystals. I think I like, if I was to say my second favorite gemstone, it would be an emerald. But my number one is ruby, and then it would be emeralds. So, yeah, now the blue sapphires, the deep blue sapphires are beautiful too. So, oh yeah, sapphire. But the rubies are still my number one stone, especially if they have like a little hole under the ruby so the light can come up through it. Oh my God, they're so beautiful. So yes, I'm making these videos so that for myself also, so that I can use them as a reference. That would be very nice to be able to see your videos, Art. So I may also make in coming up, I'll put it on the list. But what I'll do is I'll make a video of all of the software that I use, so that I can all the hardware and software, like all of the items that I use to broadcast. So everything. I'll go over the whole kit and caboodle of what I use to broadcast. I like my sound card. The sound box that I use a RME Fireface UCX2 that cost $1,600. But what it allows me to do is is in Windows, it allows me to have all these inputs and fully dedicated inputs and outputs. So I don't just have stereo in and stereo out. I have like all these inputs and outputs. I can route and hook anything up and have everything, just anything plugging in and plugging in, going out. So I will be showing all of that stuff. And then I have this thing called a Rodecaster. And that costs $600. That is so worth it to get a Rodecaster, because I can just like push the buttons and have all these different things, all, these sliders. And so I'll show all of that stuff off. And then you'll have a video that will be a roadmap so that you can learn at least what I know about broadcasting. There are many, many, many videos on YouTube about broadcasting, but I believe that my broadcasting, maybe I'm partial, but I believe my broadcasting setup is better than most people's. Because I see a lot of people like trying to use two microphones at the same time. And they'll switch and say, okay, now I'm going to sing into my DAW, and then they switch to another microphone, and then they come back and say, okay, I'm back, and then they're talking through it. That's not how you do it, okay? So and it took me a couple of years to figure out how to fix that problem. So there are all kinds of things like that. So I'll be making videos about my setup here, so that there will be a roadmap, and so that you can use that video to plan and get and probably you won't have to pay as much that I had to pay. There are because I had to buy stuff when it was just coming out and new, like right off like my Rodecaster. I bought like it. They were all out of stock, and then I bought one, and they just luckily got their hands on one, and that's the same thing with the RME, my RME Fireface interface. Fireface 2, it was like, it's called Fireface UCX2. It's RME Fireface UCX2, and then the other is a Rodecaster 2 Pro. Look them up. Those are important. And then you just want to have, you got to have like a couple of monitors. You have to have a few monitors so that you can be watching your chat at the same time while you're working on your stuff. And then I have 3 monitors. And then you also want to have an extra computer. It doesn't have to be real powerful, but it's got to have a fairly good graphics card. You want to have a streaming computer and then your regular your workstation. So the streaming computer and then and the RME Fireface interface and the Rodecaster, they connect the computers together. And then you have to have a 3D a capture card. A 4K capture card. That's what I have, as a 4K capture card. But I only now broadcast in HD, but I used to broadcast in 4K. I used to broadcast on YouTube in 4K. But the problem was that there was such a lag, is that if I said something, it would take a minute before you would hear it. So then you would respond back, and I would already be like working on something else in real time, There was such a lag between me and YouTube. And I thought, okay, I like the fact that my videos are all in 4K and they look so sharp and clear, but I don't like the fact that I can't interact with my fans almost in real time. There's a tiny lag, like when I say something, it's about maybe like a quarter of a minute ahead of what you're listening to. You're listening to something I said about a quarter of a minute ago, but at least it's not like a minute, a whole minute, It's maybe less than a quarter of a minute, but it's the lag now because I'm broadcasting in HD, which is 1920 by 1080. So I will talk about all of that. I will make videos for this channel on broadcasting. I don't have any problem with sharing all of my tips on broadcasting. So, all right, you guys, take care, Art. Take care, Angus, if you're still here. Have a lovely rest of your evening. And happy 3D adventures, okay? So we're at 231. We got to go up to 2,000 before this is done. I'm going to let this at least render to 2,000 so that these crystals are going to look amazing right now. So right now this HDRI here is it's still very grainy looking. It's not what I want. It's got to look really just like steam and not like little specks. Yeah, folks, my polka music, I do it because it's fun. The polka music it's kind of fun. So that's and it's just because a lot of this work, when I get so dry, and it's just, it comes up, it's just so. Yeah, this is the Roadcaster. So, on that note, Art, you have a wonderful evening. Angus, talk with you soon. Thank you very much for chiming in and being part of this tutorial. Watch it from the beginning and enjoy and leave me a message. I love John Candy. I liked him in Home Alone. He's playing the clarinet and he hands it over to the mother and says, "Want to try?" It's like, she says, "No, I don't think so." Have a wonderful evening. All right. Talk with you soon. Is Rex Red saying so long for now. This is EZ3DTV. Please like, subscribe, click the bell for notification, and come into the live broadcast. Be here when we're making the scenes, especially if you're a Daz person. If you know any Daz people, please invite them. Yeah, I know what that LOL was for. Yeah, the clarinet. He's like trying to get her to play that clarinet. She said, "No, I don't think so." It's like, well, okay. And so he goes back to playing the clarinet. So, yeah, John Candy was one of those very, one of those people in the world that were like genuinely funny. I find I'm very picky about my comedians, and he was somebody I absolutely loved. So, all right, we'll take care. I'll see you soon. Rex Red signing out for now. Please show up. If you know any other Daz people, invite them here. Get them in here, okay? If you have any other Daz friends, please bring them in with you. Let's have a quorum, okay? I will talk with you soon. This is Rex Red saying so long for now. I'll be back with more awesome Daz and other 3D tutorials. See you soon. Alrighty. Bye-bye.